Hello and welcome in this session of your course Teaching and Learning. I am Dr. Gaurav Singh, your course instructor, and today I am going to talk about a very important topic: reflection, practices, and approaches. Every teacher reflects, every individual, you can say, reflect, but reflection as a practice in a classroom is very essential for a teacher. So you need to learn that how you can reflect, what are the practices and what are the approaches of reflection. And reflection is not something which is very new to us. Reflection in our country is very old practice. It is an ancient practice. You recall our rishis and acharyas, they were practicing reflection. Sravana, listening, manan, contemplation, nididhyasana, concentrated contemplation. These were our teaching methods since long. Teachers were, gurus were telling something to the learners. Learners were contemplating on that and they concentrate on that. Concentrated contemplation was there. They tried to find out what was the meaning of the teacher or what was the meaning of the guru when guru told me this sloka or this statement. So, in our Indian practice, reflection was always a great tool of teaching learning. In Western world too, reflection has been discussed in different way. John Dewey has the credit basically to start the idea of reflection in Western world. And according to him, reflection is a process in which an experience is recalled, considered, and evaluated in relation to some broad purposes. So, whatever experience you have gained, you analyze it, you recall it, and you try to evaluate its effectiveness in your life, in your practices. When we talk about reflection, there are many definitions. A very famous definition was given by Bode, Kag, and Walker. According to them, those intellectual and affective activities in which individuals engage to explore their experiences in order to lead the new understanding and appreciation is called reflection. There is one more definition given by Reid, who considered reflection as an active process of reviewing an experience of practice in order to describe, analyze, evaluate, and so inform learning about practices. Dewey, when he was talking about reflection, he said the active, persistent, and careful consideration of any belief or support form of knowledge in the light of the ground that supports it. So, can you analyze all these definitions? What can you get from these definitions? These definitions are telling that reflective is basically an active process, a continuous process where an individual reflects on his or her own actions. Sometimes before doing any action, sometimes during the action, and sometimes after the action. I will talk about it later. Now, if you see the Dewey's reflection, he was talking about the 4 criteria. The first criteria was that reflection is a meaning-making process. So, whatever you will observe, whatever you will practice, you try to draw certain meaning from that. Reflection is a systematic, rigorous, and disciplined way of thinking with its roots in the scientific inquiry. And very important thing Dewey was telling, that reflection needs to happen in community, in interaction with others. So reflection is not something which only individual can reflect in a closed room, in a dark place, at a calm place, though reflection takes place there too. But when you are in the community, as a community member, you are showing some behavior, you also reflect on your behavior, as well as your community members also reflect on your behavior. So through interaction with your community members, you learn that what you are doing. And Dewey was of the view that reflection requires attitude that values personal and intellectual growth of oneself and the others. And these four criteria of Dewey's reflection have been suggested by Rutgers in 2002 in his book. When we talk about reflection, there are basically different models of reflection. One such model was given by von Manen, which is a three-level progression model. And this model, is very effective model and very popular model. Von Manen talked about three levels of progression, that was technical level, practical level, and critical level. So what von Manen was trying to say with these three levels? Von Manen was suggesting that at the technical level of reflection, the people who are reflecting, a teacher who is reflecting, a learner who is reflecting, he or she is concerned with the efficiency and effectiveness of the means to use to achieve the objectives. What was the method? So this technical level of reflection is basically confined to analyzing the effect of the strategy or the methods which we have used to show some behavior, to do some activity, or if it is about a teacher, to teach in classroom. So if you are using a new technique, a new method, and you are just thinking, okay, what was this method, whether this method was able to achieve the objectives which I have set in the starting of my class, then you are doing only technical level of reflection. But when you expand the horizon and you reach to analyze that whether your method or strategy has helped you in achieving your educational goals, the educational goals which you have set have been achieved by the learners or not, and if they have been achieved, up to what extent they have been achieved, then you are talking about practical level of reflection. So this level involves the reflection on the assumptions underlying a specific practice as well as its consequences, whereas technical level of reflection is talking only about the effectiveness of practice or method or strategy. But the highest level of reflection is critical, where we try to analyze any process, any method, any technique, any strategy, where we are concerned with the birth of educational goals, where we are questioning the moral and ethical dimensions of the decisions which we have taken during the teaching learning process. So when we talk about morality, its usefulness, its effectiveness, up to the highest level of thinking, then we are in the critical level of reflection. So von Manen was of the opinion that reflection is a progressive process. Initial reflection is always technical, later we move towards practical, and then we talk about critical level of reflection 2. A very effective and useful model of reflective practices was suggested by Donald Schoen in 1987. In his model, there were three things: reflection in action, reflection on action, and reflection for action. So what Schoen was proposing? Donald Schoen has proposed that whenever you are reflecting on something, while you are involved in that process, for example, you are teaching in your class, you are using a particular teaching learning material, teaching learning aid, or you are using a particular strategy for assessment, or you are using a particular method to deliver the content. And while delivering the content, you keep on reflecting that whether learners are learning with this method or not, whether learners are learning or they are understanding the concept by using the tool or the teaching learning material which you have developed. And if you found that no, students are not learning, they are not taking interest, you immediately adjust your teaching learning. Either you change the method, you use certain more examples, or you try to adjust it. So that is called reflection in action. Means while teaching, you are reflecting how you are teaching. So you not only teach, but you also continuously think that how I am teaching, how my learners are learning, whether they are learning in the expected way or not. That comes reflection on action. This is kind of a retrospective process. Means after taking your class, after coming out from your class, you try to analyze how my class was, whether I was able to achieve the objectives which I have set in the starting of my class or not. When you try to analyze critically and evaluate critically your actions which you have already taken, that is called reflection on action. And Sohan has suggested one more reflection called reflection for action. So what is in it? Sohan was of the opinion that teachers also reflect, or practitioners also reflect before the action. So suppose you are going to teach a particular topic with a particular method or with a specific teaching learning material, you try to reflect whether this material or this teaching aid will be effective or not. Which method is most suitable to deliver a particular topic or particular content. So when you reflect before going into the class, you focus on desired learning outcomes, kind of a futuristic reflection to ensure the responsibility and accountability for the decision that a teacher make. That is called reflection for action. So it is again a very effective model. Then Von Meeden improved his 3-layered progressive model with the help of Taggart and Bilson in 1998, and that model is famous with the name of 3-layered reflective thinking model. The 3 layers are dialectic, contextual, and technical. What is new in this model? If you talk about the technical reflection, it is the same like the Von Meeden's original 3-step progression model, that it is the simple description of the observation. What I have taught, whether learners learn, whether they were active, they were answering my questions. So you focus on behavior, on content, or the skills from the past experiences or theories. It is basically a task-oriented view of teaching competencies as meeting a set of objectives. So to explain such kind of reflections, you use very appropriate educational vocabulary, that in today's class, I was able to achieve this. I used this teaching method effectively. My learners were nodding their heads properly. They were able to answer the questions which have been asked by me at the end of the class. So it means my class was effective and it has achieved its goal. So that is called technical reflection. But the next level was the contextual reflection. The method which you have used may have been used by many. It may be in the teaching learning textbooks or teaching learning manuals. But how you contextualize it? What are the problems which have emerged during your class, which were unique or contextual or thus that context specific, and how you dealt with them? How you related the theory which you were teaching with the practice? Whether you have used any alternative model to adjust your teaching learning during the teaching or not. So such kind of contextual reflection means what happened during the teaching learning. In that particular context, when you reflect on that, that is called contextual reflection. Then the third is dialectical reflection. In dialectical reflection, there are many questioning practices which are very systematic. People suggest alternative and competing theories. They reflect on decisions and consequences during the course of action. People bring moral, ethical, and social political issues for discussion. So in this model, all these things happens. So this is again a very effective model of reflection. Then there was a very famous cycle known as Gibbs reflective cycle. I have given its picture here. So actually, it starts with experiences, but it is explaining how reflection takes place. So first, you experience something which has happened in your class. Then when something has happened, how do you feel? Then you try to analyze what kind of feeling that was. You try to evaluate it, whether it was good or bad about that situation. Then you try to analyze why it has happened. What was the reason? What were the possible solutions? Then when you start thinking about the solutions, you come at the conclusion stage that what else you could have done, how you must have dealt with that situation has emerged at that time in your class or the experience which you have experienced. Then you decide about action plan, that if it happen in future, if it will happen in next time, what I will do. So this is a very famous reflective cycle of Gibbs, which reflects that when you experience something, you develop a feeling about that, then you evaluate what kind of feeling is it bad or good, Then you try to analyze that why it is happening, what you have been done by you if it has happened at that time, whatever you have done was good or not, and if in future it will happen, what you will do. So in this way you reflect on any situation. There is another one more important model of reflection is given by Atkins and Murphy. This Atkins and Murphy model was proposed in 1993, and in this model it starts with identify any learning situation on which you need to reflect. What has happened? What was the situation which had occurred? Then you try to analyze that have you felt any discomfort or action, or have you gained any different experience during that. That is called awareness. And if it has happened, then you try to describe it. What were the features? What were the feelings, thoughts? What has developed in your mind at that time? Then you try to analyze why it has happened. You identify and challenge the assumptions. You imagine and explore the alternatives. Then you try to evaluate the relevance of the knowledge. That what has happened and what you have done was appropriate or not. How you have used the knowledge and how you can use it in future if it will happen. So it is again a model of reflection. Whether it is Atkins model, von Neumann model, or Swan's model, or other models, all are trying to analyze and explain how reflection takes place. But believe me, a teacher should be a good reflective practitioner. And who is a good reflective practitioner? A good reflective practitioner is he or she who seeks to solve problem through a balanced inquiry about a practical situation, who always contemplate about oneself and the effect on the teaching and learning process, one's previously acquired knowledge and skills and dispositions, one's current learners and educational settings, one's vision for accountability and development. So, with this I must say that if you want to be an reflective practitioner, you should be a good reflective practitioner. You think how you can reflect, where you need to reflect, but always reflect. And my suggestion is that a good teacher always reflect for the action, in the action, and of the action. Be a good reflective practitioner. Thank you very much.